New York Times tries to slander Trump once again. Gets embarrassing beatdown instead by Adam Castellino, Politics US News from AdWorldNews.com. The New York Times, a once respected news outlet, has lost all credibility. Sadly, today the paper of record is nothing more than a rag of propaganda and lies. For years now, they've been producing invented stories to attack then candidate and now President Donald Trump. Even though they were embarrassed with their predictions for the election, they continue to slander Trump. Their latest ploy tries to cast doubt about Trump's resolve. However, they got serious backlash from the POTUS himself. The New York Times has a pretty bad track record. They predicted Hillary Clinton would win the election by a landslide. After their titanically bad coverage, they promised to provide more honest reporting in the future. I guess that was a lie too. Their super liberal reporters have done nothing but skew the facts in order to smear the commander-in-chief. They might be as bad as CNN, if not worse. Those who run the newspaper have such a hatred for President Trump they cannot cover him in an honest light. Much like the rest of the mainstream media, they have ruined their reputation with their dubious stories. Recently, they published another story aimed at discrediting the president, of course. It was everything to do with the witch hunt that is Robert Mueller's Russia probe. The New York Times claims Trump wanted to fire Mueller and end this joke of an investigation back in June. While there's nothing wrong with that, they framed it to be another outrageous claim of obstruction of justice. President Trump ordered the first firing last June of Robert S. Mueller III, the special counsel overseeing the Russia investigation, according to 4 people told of the matter, but ultimately backed down after the White House counsel threatened to resign rather than carry out the directive. Source, New York Times. Why is this dubious? Because once again, a liberal outlet is citing 4 people told of the matter. Notice they aren't quoting people actually involved in the story. Nobody within the White House spoke with New York Times. They just have 4 nameless sources who claim they were told of this. The story is removed from the source. What? 4 times? And we're supposed to believe this is fact. The story frames the situation as President Donald Trump becoming impatient, angry, and downright obsessed with Mueller's Russian probe, all to paint the picture that he's nervous over what Mueller might find. Again, another attempt by the New York Times to suggest the president is guilty of collusion. Not because of any evidence, which does not exist, or actual facts. The New York Times is suggesting this through hearsay, hints, and a heavy dose of manipulation. Nonetheless, Mr. Trump has wavered for months about whether he wants to fire Mr. Mueller, which is an omnipresent concern among the president's legal team and close aides. The White House has denied nearly a dozen times since June that Mr. Trump was considering firing Mr. Mueller. The president's lawyers, including Mr. Cobb, have tried to keep Mr. Trump calm by assuring him for months amid new revelations about the inquiry that it is close to ending, source New York Times. Of course, Trump is firing back because of the bias and dishonesty of the New York Times. The president is forced to become combative. He declared the story fake news, acknowledging that kind of coverage is typical of the New York Times. President Donald Trump denied a New York Times story reporting that he ordered special counsel Robert Mueller fired in June and then backed off. Fake news, fake news, Trump replied when reporters in Davos asked about the article. Typical New York Times fake stories. And I saw the clip. They don't have it on this article. They have it at the Gateway Pundit. And here is the source, Breitbart, they're saying. But I saw it on the clip when they asked him the question today. Then he said exactly these words, that he never did that. So, as you can imagine, the New York Times has zero incentive to prove what they write. People who are interested in facts won't believe it. Their rabid liberal audience, however, will eat it up simply because they already hate Trump and are looking for excuses to bash him. Not only will they stop and not once will they stop and consider the story is built on nothing but hearsay. They make it up themselves. All they need is a little bit of a reason to complain. This is the state of the mainstream media in 2018. They are not interested in facts or evidence. Desperate, they push rumors and unnamed sources to back their anti-American agenda. It's no wonder they continue to lose. Absolutely. And this is all made up in order to create a distraction, of course, to distract from the memo story. So now, like the New York Times is printing this when they specifically have Trump on tape stating this live. You know what I'm saying? And it's all a detraction to take away from the real story that's about to let loose on the corruption that's taking place. So they're trying to make the people look at Trump as he's trying to hide something, which he's not. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. And again, thank you so much for watching.